Hello and welcome to Zelda Speedruns. Today we show another match of the A Link to the Past NMG Tournament. This is a match in Group D between daotmb and matt7898. Commentators for this match will be Buane and Rob J. Beasley. Say hello and take it from here.
Hello.
Hey everybody, hope everybody's ready for a good race here. Rob, how are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. Yeah, looking forward to this one. Two players who should be able to put on a pretty close show. A couple of minutes between their PBs.
Yeah, Dow, the number 4 seed coming into the tournament. Matt, the number 20. Both these guys in the top groups here and playing for some buys in the brackets. This is the last match of Group D. It's one of the last matches scheduled in the tournament as we kind of look to advance through the group stages today. And should be a good one. Dow is playing for the top spot in his group here. Matt's trying to put up a good show too. And another member of Group D, Fox Lisk, waiting to see the results of this match because it depends on his seeding, depends on it too.
Yeah, still plenty to play for in the last day of groups here. It looks like we're ready to go.
Coming into this match, Dow is 2-0. Matt is 1-1. So a win by Matt would put 3 players in Group D at 2-1, and we'd have to go to some tiebreakers to figure out the seeding. So we'll see what we've got in store for these 2 runners in this race in Group D overall. I'm pretty excited to finally get to do some comms in this tournament. We're now just about 2 weeks in. This is my first time on the microphone, and fitting it would come here on the last day of groups as we get ready to really move into the elimination part of the event. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm sure like me, Rob, you've seen a lot of the matches that have gone on in the tournament. Everybody watching has probably, caught a couple dozen. It's been a lot of fun so far to watch.
Yeah, I've seen a few very good matches so far. Commentated on a couple as well. It's been a good event so far.
A lot of close matches, a lot of good matchups, races where either player going in has at least a chance to win. That's what we were going for, and I think it's paid off so far. Likewise with these 2 runners, Matt's PB being 125.59 and Dow's PB being a 124.01. These guys are close enough where anything can happen, and typically in this game, when anything can happen, anything does.
The format of the tournament has certainly helped create some close races. It's been very good.
Yeah, and we're going to see that get taken to the next level in brackets too, because you're pretty much going to be playing against somebody. Every bracket match is kind of going to be more of the same, so it's going to be a lot of fun. It's been fun so far. It's just even to play in this game with stakes is tons of fun. That was an amazing, by the way, D-boost there from Matt in that guard hallway. The guard's got in his way, he had a slash, and he still got the D-boost through the guard. It was pretty great. Messes up the key guard a little bit there, so falling behind Dow to start. Escape is, for me, the hardest split in a tournament. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's nerves or just, you want things to get off to a good start, and Matt's going to pick up that heart there just to make sure nothing goes sideways on ball and chain. Going into ball and chain with 2 hearts is actually a little scary because taking 2 hits is very within the realm of possibilities.
Especially, I'm assuming both players are going to go for 8 slash here, so it could be easy to get hit a couple times.
Yeah, and usually you're used to being able to take 2 hits if you do get a little bopped to start the fight, and then another one maybe to finish out the fight. So 2.5 hearts, very comfortable. Like Dow's going to go in there with 2.5 hearts. 2 hearts is a little bit of a danger zone, so Matt understandably picking up that heart on the way. I'm sure Dow feels very comfortable. 2.5 is completely fine. Although, now that I've said that out loud, I am sorry, Dow, if this goes wrong for you. He got a really good start there, so that's really the key to the fight. Getting that first slash in there. Matt gets bopped on his first one, but he's going to be able to clean it up. There's the second hit. See? There we go. That's why he picked up the heart.
Excellent foresight there.
You do that fight a lot of times in this game because you very rarely are throwing resets. Oh, Dow getting the guard, blocking the boomerang with his psychic powers on the way out of the jail. But yeah, this is almost every run that you do of this game gets to ball and chain. So you've done ball and chain a lot, and you know the upper and lower limits of what can happen in that fight. So a lot of runners, they get to on that 2 hearts on the way to ball and chain, and alarm bells are already going off.
Yeah, and that's might be a difference that you see in the tournament there, is picking up hearts in spots like that. In a normal attempt, you might just go in there with 2 hearts, and if you die, so be it, reset. But yeah, no one wants to do that in the tournament.
That's another good point. You are much more willing to take ball and chain death when you know I've only lost 3 minutes of my life. I'm just going to press the reset button. So Dow has, because of those issues Matt had on ball and chain and having to pick up some extra hearts, and the key guard issue that led to the heart loss in the first place, he has opened up a nice little 1-screen lead here in Escape, which is fairly significant for Escape, but plenty of places in the rest of the light world alone that can make up this difference. But always feel good to come out in a tournament race and put up a solid Escape or have a couple second lead on your opponent, because anything can and will go wrong the rest of the run.
Yeah, for sure. It seems like it's about 4 or 5 seconds between them now.
But like you said, we're going to see some other safeties come into play in the run. Hearts that you can pick up in other dungeons. Sank Heart being something also a big safety that these runners are going to pick up after Escape. I almost assume they're both going to pick up Sank Heart. And, as close as some of these tournament races have been, 2-3 seconds, 30 frames for picking up a pot, not going to really be the difference in very many races. Whereas, picking up a heart, an extra heart here and there that saves you from dying is a big difference maker in these races. So there's definitely a gear that you can downshift here in tournament races where you say, let's just not die, or let's just not have a disaster. So we're going to be seeing that in a couple places, a couple dungeons in this run that normally these players probably wouldn't be doing in a PB attempt.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm pretty sure neither of these players have Sank Heart in their PBs, but I'm expecting them to grab it today.
Boy, Dow might have it in his PB. His PB is very unique in that when he said it, it was like plus 45 over his sum of best or something like that. Just an insanely good PB. Oh, nice RAF frames there for Matt. So Matt's going to be second out of Escape, but he's going to have the powerful RAF frames powering his Eastern Palace split here. But yeah, Dow's run was so crazy. He wasn't really going for like a 123 when he got it. So he might have Sank Heart in his PB. Normally at this level where Dow is at, you are skipping the Sank Heart, but certainly you can achieve any goal in this game, speedrunning with the Sank Heart. So it's not something that's going to stand in most runners' away, but that 3-second time for it save can become pretty tempting as you get your times lower and lower.
Yeah, Dow has been kind enough to let us know in chat here that he does not have Sank Heart in his PB.
Does not have Sank Heart in his PB. Well, I guess that isn't the difference between a 124 and a 123 for him then, so it's good too. Both players did pick up Sank Heart here, though, obviously, as we were expecting. Dow immediately losing his Sank Heart and almost taking a 3rd heart of damage there. We'll have to be a little careful now with 2 hearts. You can get bodied on this next overworld screen, too. This is actually one of the most annoying overworld screens in the game. Both players are losing hearts here because it's just a lot of RNG. He is down to 1, so he will need to be careful around this corner. Get some good RNG, though. Stay safe.
Yeah, he's going to have to pick up some hearts inside the dungeon. Obviously, he will still want to do the big key damage boost, so he will need to get a little bit more health there. You need to take 1.5 hearts at least to grab the big key early.
Yeah, there are a lot of hearts here in Eastern Palace, luckily. A couple of them a little far out of the way, but some of them right smack in the middle of your way, or, maybe single-digit frame losses for picking them up. So it's always nice when you do get bodied on the overworld screen. You are not going to lose too much time getting back to a comfortable amount of health. I assume Dow is going to probably boom this heart under the pot in this room where he might get a heart for free by doing this. So that would be nice for him. He did not get either heart for free. You can get actually a magic drop from the Stalfos, and if the boomerang on the way back picks up the heart and the magic drop, then you basically got the heart and didn't lose any time because the magic pot will save the frames that you spent boomeranging the heart. And sometimes the heart comes back and you get the double heart from picking up one via the boomerang. But Dao did not have either of those things happen. So he's on 3 hearts, which is what he's probably used to for this section of Eastern. But, you know, there are enemies that do a full heart of damage, and he's going to be taking an intentional heart and a half of damage coming up on the big key skip. So it is a place where deaths happen, and we're hoping that we don't see one at all in this run. Certainly not one in Eastern.
He didn't grab the extra heart pot in key pot room there, so going in with 3. Some nice clean damage boost there, so shouldn't be a problem.
Got the good damage boost there, yeah. Didn't get the good chest open. The chests in this game are very hard to open, especially the ones that are like on top of stairs like that. So you can lose very easily 10-15 frames just jamming your face into a chest without opening it. But the important part is he's coming out of there with a heart and a half. Should be in good shape for the back half of the dungeon. Now, Dao did, I think in his previous race in this group, Dao did take a death here in Eastern, so, you know, you never want to be thinking about that, self-fulfilling prophecies and all, but I'm sure it's on his mind as he's headed to Armos. Not looking to repeat those mistakes. Some pretty bad Zelda Gamer Room RNG there, but cleans it up. They both get pretty bad Zelda Gamer RNG. Dao into Armos.
Yeah, both players are already getting arrow drops, so should still be at a reasonable total after killing the Armos Knights here.
Good fight from Dao. Matt headed into his fight. Matt's got a very weird arrow count, 24. Well, I guess that makes... Yeah, he shot 1 extra arrow, I think, in ZGR there as he was cleaning up, but... Looks like a solid fight for him. He shoots 1 more arrow, so he's got 5. Dao on the more comfortable 9 arrows. Arrow count at this point, usually not a big deal. Later on in the run, it can change some of the pot pickups in later dungeons and save you some time if you get enough good lucky drops. So we won't really know where these players stand on arrows until we get later in the game, but being on 9 is not the best, but it's basically second best out of Eastern, so Dao will take that. And Matt might consider picking up some extras in Desert, or just kind of seeing what his drops look like before he starts committing to extra arrow drops later. We got the boots now. We're going to do some spin speeds. This is like a spin speed filled overworld. Down nails the first one, which always feels amazing. We'll see if Matt can get the first spin speed as well. Sure can. I don't know, for me, spin speed is one of those, like, some days you wake up and you can do it perfectly, and some days you wake up and forget about it. It's not happening. So that first one is usually telling for me. If I get the first one, I feel good. Then you got some other ones that are less important. Dao's going to go for the library screen spin speed here. Very nicely done. Not a spin speed that saves a lot of time, but if you do it really well, you can save some frames. And if you miss it, then you lose a bunch of frames.
Yeah, Matt not going for it here.
The staircase here outside the library is so hard to deal with when you're in the spin speed state. That's usually where most players, even when they get the spin speed, give back a lot of the frames that it would save on an optimal screen. And that's why a lot of players don't even go for it, because even when you get it, you can still lose all your frames, and you're not always going to get the spin speed anyway, so... Neither player on a very comfortable rupee count yet. We'll see what they decide to do in Desert. You need to leave Desert with 4 rupees, which luckily both players are above that. We don't need to leave Desert. You'd really, really like to leave Desert with 4 rupees. there are some rupees not too far out of the way that they can pick up. You're trying to avoid having to pick up all of the blue rupees from your tree pulls later on after Tower of Hera. We'll see. It's a personal preference. There's some rupee pots you can pick up here to get to above 9 is where you'd really like to be, or even more. But they may know they have red drops coming up. I didn't really see if they had any red drops in Eastern. There are some Pobos in this dungeon that you can kill for rupees. And then a lot of players just decide they're not really going to pay too much attention, but if they see a drop that's not too far out of the way, they're just going to read and react to it and pick it up. So we'll see what both these guys want to do in here. There's not too much else going on in this dungeon except things like that until we get into the back, so we'll see what both these guys are feeling like.
Yeah, I didn't notice either player leave a red drop behind in Eastern, so they could be lining those up soon. It's much more convenient to get them in Eastern, though, because you have the boomerang equipped for a lot of the dungeon.
Yeah, you need some of these popos to cooperate, drop it in a spot that, you're killing some of the popos where if they drop a rupee, it'll be right there for you to grab, and you're killing others in a way that you're not going to walk all the way to their death spot to pick up. Not great cannonball RNG there for Matt, but he makes the most of it on his dash out. Dao headed to pick up his glove now. This is where he might pick up a rupee pot in this room. And he does, just to be safe. That pot is typically less of a time loss than picking up all of the blue rupees that pop out of the first tree pull. So most runners, if they're not at 9 yet, will pick up that pot. We see Matt is not picking up the pot. He can still get rupees, and worst case scenario, he can still just pick up all of the blue rupees out of the tree and he'll be fine. So it's personal preference. Dao going for and nailing the Desert Ledge spin speed. Also not a spin speed that saves that much, and it is very dangerous. The potential for just hopping right off that ledge. We see Matt not going for that. In a tournament race, that would be an unqualified disaster. Understand if players don't go for it in their regular PB attempts, much less a tournament race, but very nice confidence from Dao going for that.
Yeah, you certainly don't want to do a second lap of Desert Palace.
No, it's no fun at all. Very gross Popo RNG here for Matt. He's got to walk to all the corners of the room. Dao's into his torches. He'll be going into the Landmo fight. Should be getting into the fight just as Matt is kind of entering. So we'll be able to see a couple cycles here from Dao before Matt gets in the fight, which will make it a lot easier for us to pay attention.
Ooh, a little bit of torches difficulty from Matt there.
And not a great first cycle there from Dao. Meanwhile, Matt standing inside the red Igor, probably going to lose another heart here after the cutscene. We've all been there.
Decent second cycle from Dao there. Hopefully he can clear this up for a 3. Yeah.
Yeah, very good second cycle to kind of put himself back on track there. Matt's got a very nice 2-2, 1.5 to start his fight. Getting 2-2. If he can nail this, yes, very nice for Matt. Really, really good, well-positioned, good timing on all of his arrows. Was a very friendly RNG, but those are the ones you don't want to mess up when they're very friendly because it feels worse.
Okay, coming up on the Fake Flippers segment now.
Yeah, this is this whole split, the Hera split, is usually the one that makes or breaks your light world. So a lot of things can go wrong. This is the first thing that can go wrong. Hopefully, we don't see any major disasters. Good RNG for Dao on the way. Doesn't have to dodge any of the pickles, and he's just barely in, but he's in. Matt does have to dodge one. Not a huge deal. He's also in good. All right, no major disasters yet. Now all that's left is Death Mountain and Tower of Hera itself. Nothing has ever gone wrong on Death Mountain or in Tower of Hera, so both these runners completely in the clear.
Yeah, we've seen an event or two in this split over the course of the tournament, that's for sure. Lots of places to take damage.
Yeah, health is a huge resource for Hera. You're going to lose hearts most of the time, and it's not even your fault. And then it's all about what kind of strats in which rooms you're comfortable with doing on various heart levels. Very, I guess, lucky there for Dao to not poke that that dead rock. He wanted to at first, and then it stopped in a very awkward spot. He's going to get the really long old man walk here. Oh, he takes an extra hit there. That last one real feels bad.
Yeah, that was a serious cabbaging.
Oh, he missed the spin speed. He's going to be very careful. 1.5 hearts. Effectively 2 hearts. Not what you're looking for. You can manage from here. It's not the end of the world. But he's going to need to... this is where you've got some lobby strats and some basement strats that you might feel a little more comfortable with not taking damage on, that you might switch to here in Dao's position. Matt's going to make it up here with 4 hearts. And as long as there's no dead rock issues for either of them, Dao gets in, no problem. One dead rock left for Matt. 4 is a pretty reasonable amount of health to make it up here with.
Yeah, there's a couple of opportunities to take a death warp in this dungeon and get some health back. We'll see if Dao wants to, but I expect he'll go for it.
Yeah, it's not in a lot of runners' muscle memory, so it's really all about like how much you've mentally prepared for it. Dao is now on a half heart though, so if he wasn't thinking about it before, he might be thinking about it post big key chest. He's gonna do the poke there. This is always a... I know that this is most runners, this is how they wait for things in this room. They'll jam themselves in between the 2 pots like Dao has, and they will do their poke dashes. With a half a heart, man, I would not trust myself, personally.
Yeah, this is my go-to strat for the room as well. You can hold the A button for quite a while. It should be fine.
Maybe it's just because I don't normally do this. It always looks more dangerous to me than it actually is. Matt's going to do the strat where he dashes through the last tile here. Dao throwing the pot at the last tile. Pretty equal. Dao's going to be very safe, very smart to recognize that Moldorm is in a bad spot.
Yeah, and going for the walk instead of a dash there as well to not aggro any of the Stalfos early.
And he is going to take the Death Warp, so good call on your part. Just much easier, better to take a death here, only lose a handful of seconds, than take death upstairs and lose a lot more. But it is going to basically even up the race now. After Dao, well, I guess he doesn't have to menu to mirror, so he doesn't lose out on that menu. He's maybe a second or so ahead. We'll see what kind of strategies both these runners go for with the bomb jump. I think they're probably both spin setup players. Matt's going to hit the switch here just to give himself a little more extra safety upstairs. Oh, Matt let go of the spin a little early there, so he bailed. He's going to pick up the extra bomb and give it another shot. He spun early again there, but he was on a good pixel at least, so... always a nerve-wracking place in Hera, especially in a tournament race, because a fall there is a lot of time.
Yep, and he'll have to find another bomb somewhere now as well. But he'll be having a little bit of trouble with bumper skip.
Reads it, though, which is what you want to do. You don't want to fall, so... You know, on the one hand, you know, you mess up the bomb jump and you mess up the bumper skip, but you saw that you were going to mess them up. So it's not the disaster where if you just kind of walked into it and let it go. Very nice read there on the last hit for Dao. He had a pretty good fight, despite some kind of uncooperative Moldorm at the end. Matt looking like he's doing fine. A little early for his last hit, and we'll see if he can hunt him down. Just kind of dashing everywhere. Hopefully Moldorm walks in front of him. Then that strategy is legitimate sometimes. It's fine. He's going to get the poke hit. So ran all around the arena there for the last hit, but gets it. And he's going to lose a little bit of time, even though Dao taking that Death Warp. You know, Matt with the bomb jump issues. And then on Moldorm, it's just so easy to lose huge chunks of time in Hera. It's happened to everybody, and it doesn't matter how good you get at the split. It's going to keep happening.
Yep, Dao seems to have re-established a similar lead to what he had before the Death Warp now.
Both players in the Aghanim Tower split. This is actually a very, very hard split. Typically aren't disasters on the level of Hera, but very easy to just not have a clean Aga Tower and lose lots of time. A lot of heavy execution rooms. Dao going for the pickle shot here on the overworld, where there's some RNG and some reading of the RNG related to that. We'll see what strategy Matt goes for. He's going to have to pick up all these blue rupees as well. Which is, it feels so slow when you're doing it, which is why a lot of players try to avoid having to pick up all of them. Yeah, besides all the execution that we need in Aga Tower, we also have a big pile of RNG at the end of it. I have been told by people I trust that there is a 50% chance of a 12-second or fewer blue ball difference in these races. Some of the races we've seen have held true to that, and others have seen large swings, so I think in these races, it's perfectly fine for everyone to just root for the same number of blue balls for both runners, and we'll do okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure not very many races have been won or lost by the blue balls, but, you know, you never want to see that.
Yeah, I actually don't know for sure if there have been any. There always seem like, whenever we do events with this game, that blue balls are going to decide a bunch of things, and if you think for previous events, there really hasn't been the case too often, so it's one of those things we're always afraid of, because it's a pretty big feels bad. You lose 40 seconds to Aga, and then you lose the race by 20 seconds. Yeah, it's easy to feel bad about that, but I mean, there's so much RNG in this game. It comes in big bunches during the Aga fight, but there are a lot of other places where, you know, 5 seconds here, 3 seconds there, 6 seconds there to different RNGs, and most experienced runners know that if they lose a race, they have a lot that they can look at that isn't just the Aghanim fight, so. So far, everything looked pretty good on the overworld, and now here in the first couple rooms for Dao, we're going to go upstairs and see what kind of behavior he gets from some of the guards here in the dark rooms. One of the worst dark rooms, one of the worst rooms in this split, I'd probably say. No aggroing so far. Some of these guards just like to randomly aggro at you from across the room and ruin everything you're trying to do, but Dao actually gets a very friendly pattern for most of them. Matt had a little issue there. I think he dashed a little too soon on one of the slower aggros, so he actually got a heart drop there, which is significant. We'll have to watch his pod to see if he gets the fairy drop. Not the end of the world yet, and not even really the end of the world if he misses the fairy. It's just something he'll have to prepare for. He missed the... Saw Matt go for the chest turn there. Did not get it, but appreciate the effort, Matt. This is a really nice Aga Tower from Dao. Like, this is he's gonna have an excellent time here. Everything was very smooth, very well executed, got very good RNG to boot. And that always feels good. Nailing this split is not something that happens very often. It's pretty inconsistent just because of its difficulty, and a lot of the rooms have some RNG element, but that was a very nice tower from Dao. Got to be feeling good about that.
Yeah, for sure. Very good tower time. Looking at his splits here, this could be a gold.
I think it's just going to be... It's probably within a second of his gold for sure. I didn't quite see the exact time, but it wasn't even like a perfect overworld either, so the tower portion was excellent from Dao. And yes, if it is a gold, you're right. Yeah. So he's expanding on that lead a little bit, but we'll see what Aga has to say about that. Looks like 2 for Dao here in the first phase. Not what you're looking for. Not the end of the world yet.
There's a third. And one already from Matt.
Uh-oh.
Hmm.
Whenever you get above 3, start worrying. All right, Dao is going to finish the second phase at 4. I think Matt is now at 2. So they're on track to get the same amount so far.
Okay, Dow finishes with 4. We're also up to 4 from Matt now as well.
All right, now Matt's going to be hoping that he just gets, going to win the 50-50 and get out of here with 4. That's his, he's got his fingers crossed. We've all got our fingers crossed for you, Matt. Oof. Didn't work. It didn't work.
Not enough crossed fingers.
Somebody out there wasn't crossing their fingers. I don't know who it was, but we're going to find you.
Still just 6 seconds roughly lost, though, to the...
Yeah, not the end of the world. Absolutely. I mean, maybe would have been nice to see Matt make up 6 seconds there on Dao and get a little bit closer, but Dao's going to carry a pretty comfortable lead here into the Dark World. Well, I don't know if he dashed down there on purpose. Most players, when the Hinox throws 2 bombs, will need to move down manually and redash, but I don't know if Dao just read the first bomb from the Hinox and dashed lower than he normally would have. Pretty cool strat if he did do that on purpose, because he did not have to cancel his dash and redash past the Hinox there, despite the pretty bad RNG of him throwing the double bomb. Both players, by the way, getting the pyramid spin speed, which is a huge plus. Starting off Dark World on the right foot. Palace of Darkness actually not a very difficult split, but contains so much variance and inconsistencies for players of all skill levels just because of how much time mistakes will cost you if you do make them, and then how much time can just be lost on Helmasaur because you're trying to not die. So we'll see how both these players fare here. It feels very good when you get a really good pod, because it is one of those splits that you don't usually have like great pods. You just have pods that, hey, I didn't die, I didn't mess up Hammer Yump, that was fine. It's usually most players' low bar for this split.
Yeah, for sure. There were a couple of very scary portions that you were just happy to get through.
We'll see how many bombs Matt ends up picking up. Like you pointed out, since he had to use the extra bomb in Hera, he is down a bomb from what he normally would be. And he's going to pick up an extra bomb right here, actually get it out of the way right away. Almost getting hit by the fireball there, but just probably like a frame fast enough to not get hit by the fireball there, which is always nice. Stay on full health as long as you can here. We're also going to have to watch Matt on the Hammer Yump to see if he gets his fairy drop, which he's hoping he does not see. And I guess we're also hoping that we do not see the fairy drop. Now going into his Hammer Yump first here.
Pretty
Very
solid
nice.
hammer jump there.
Yeah, went with the extra buffers, but went with the pause buffers. I think most players will do that in tournament just to be safe. Don't want to mess it up.
Yeah, just a couple of extra pause buffers. Not too much time lost.
And most players will not complain too much about, 2 extra buffers. Just, you didn't land on the right pixel. You took 1 buffer to correct it both times. That's typically not that bad of a Hammer Yump in most players' minds.
And no fairy from Matt there.
No fairy, that's big for his peace of mind later on. Very nice hammer jump from him too. Very well executed there for both players. You love to see it. Oh, that's a big hit from Dao there, getting shot by that red mimic. He's going to be down 2 hearts, so that takes away effectively 1 hit he can take on Helma. And if there's any shenanigans here in Turtles too, where things get a little dicey, so probably if he gets any weird patterns from the Turtles, you may play it very, very safe just to make sure he doesn't take any more damage.
Yep, he also had to shoot an extra arrow at the switch there and didn't get an arrow drop in the mimic room, so is just on 5. Matt gets the 10 drop though.
10 arrows, so huge swing in the race. Oh, Dao is just crab walking away from that turtle there. I don't know if he would normally clean up the bottom turtle there before the top ones. I don't know if he changed that because of his health situation, but certainly wasn't feeling confident enough to try anything really fast there, as he was just trying to flip it over before he did anything. Now he's into Helma, and hopefully he gets his spin speed. Looks like he did, and hopefully the rest of the fight is fine. No fireballs, Helma, 1 time. Okay, very, very nice. He took a hit there, knew that he just wanted to stand in the middle of the fireballs, not take another one, clean it up after they'd all exploded. Very, very smart. Matt also had a little bit of an adventure in Turtles, and now he's going into his Helma fight. I don't know if he does spin speed Helma. He doesn't have his sword out, so... Oh, now he does. Maybe... Oh. I don't know if he tried to go for it and just dropped the sword there. So might be in a little bit of an awkward spot here for Matt. Oh, and he didn't get it again. It always starts to feel really awkward. He might not even go for it again. He might just do the regular fight from here. The old school hammers. Oh boy. Okay, he should be able to clean it up from here. Okay, he's fine. No, shout out to Sankheart.
Only a little bit terrified there.
Yeah, like the spin speed, the advent of spin speed Helma has been great. I think most players who do it agree that it's fantastic, and there's some players who aren't a big fan of an extra spin speed, so they don't. But when you miss that spin speed, and then it's in your head on the second one, well, I better get the second one, and then you miss the second one, you're kind of in uncharted territory, and you don't want to be in uncharted territory in this game. A nice lotto there on the overworld from Dao. Oof, 2 hearts. Not a huge deal taking 2 hearts of damage. This is a split that usually players will finish at or close to full health, so you do have health to give, but it's also a split where everything hits hard, so if you continue to get hit by enemies, you lose your life very fast. And that's also not a good thing in speedruns. But both players lived through pods, so we get to see the rest of the Dark World. Always a good thing. These 2 splits here, Thieves and Skull, are kind of like the lull before things get really crazy again. Not to say that things can't go sideways in these 2 splits, but most of the time, you know, you're talking about tens of seconds being a big difference in these, as opposed to the rest of the splits in the game where you can see, you know, multiple minutes of difference between good and bad. Very nice quick warp setup and getting the flute in 1 dig. Extremely important when you're being restreamed to only do 1 dig for the flute.
What if it's moved?
Well, then you just gotta get lucky. There's only so many places it could be.
Good Usain Bolt spin speed there as well. The guy will chase you down if you're not moving fast.
Yeah, that is a screen that spin speed is almost mandatory on, just because of how annoying it's going to be if you don't have spin speed and you have to climb up that hill. Did not look like Matt got the quick warp there, but does only dig one time. Very important again. When people are watching, you only want to dig once. Very nice 3-guard screen there for Dao. I don't know what the heck that screen is called, but there's 3 guards on it, so it's the 3-guard screen. Deceptively tricky to get a clean guard screen there without getting bopped by any of them. Matt had a good Usain Bolt screen, and he is awakening his bird. Three Musketeers, says Greenham. That's not bad. I have heard that one. We can go with 3 Musketeers if that's the consensus. I think there was a 57 Thieves entry for Dow, which is very solid, especially considering he got lotteried to start his entire overworld. So I think everybody would take a 57 under those circumstances. Very difficult overworld, the Thieves Town overworld. You can just lose so much time just due to your movement. So you need to have good movement and have everything else work out too to get good entry times into Thieves.
The enemies in the front half of Thieves here, so heading into the back now with this big key, with only the 2 hearts from the lottery taken.
Yeah, this is just it's a split where everything does hit pretty hard, but you finish this split on full hearts a lot, so taking some damage is usually not the end of the world. Really tough pattern here on the Hellway for Dow. Missed the pixel and then got blocked anyway, and then also couldn't dash through the 2 Patrick stars there. Takes 1 heart of damage. When that's slow, you really just want to not take too much damage in addition to it being slow. You know, you'll eat the 4 or 5 seconds of time loss because you can't dash through. You just don't really want to lose 4 hearts in the process, and Dow successfully doesn't do that. Pretty good bombable floor as well.
Yep, managing to not take any damage from the crickets as well. Those guys hit surprisingly hard.
Yeah, unfairly hard, really. Like, they don't look very dangerous, but they're the worst, so... Matt looks like he had a similar issue there to Dow. Missed it by... tried to readjust to the God Pixel, missed it again, and then got blocked a little bit. So he does end up taking more damage than Dow did. They're both on 5 hearts now, so... Still pretty comfortable as long as nothing else really goes terribly wrong. They both should be fine with 5 hearts. Getting the good Zazek patterns there for Dow. He just gets to casually walk through the prison. Matt's gonna pick up that toilet bomb here in this room. A pretty slow bomb, but he's still probably down. Oh, then he gets the bomb drop anyway, so he probably didn't need it. But having extra bombs is also not the worst in a tournament race. He's gonna have 7, Dow's on 6. They both have plenty of bombs to finish their run.
Yeah, for sure there are a couple of spots where you want more bombs than the optimal number for a couple of things, like Ice Palace Bomb Jump. It's nice to have a backup bomb.
Yeah, and Spooky, where you would normally just say in a PB run, if I fail Spooky, the run's over. If you fail Spooky in a tournament run, you'd really like to have a bomb to do the backup in Mire, instead of just having to lose 90 seconds climbing back up and finding a bomb. So it's always nice to have some extra bombs. Just, you know, like you said, Ice Palace Bomb Jump, there's a Bomb Jump in Skull Woods coming up, and just having some extras is never that bad of a thing. But overall, except for Hellway, pretty solid Thieves Town for Dow. Got lottoed and had a kind of rough Hellway passage. Everything else very solid, very acceptable. acceptable from his point of view. I mean, again, you're trying to frame things in a tournament mindset, and I think everybody lowers their standards a little bit, just saying, all right, this is fine for a tournament. You don't have to PB in every tournament race. And really just the blind fight separating them. So, Dao's still holding on to that fairly significant lead, but it's close enough where there's a lot of places that Matt can close the gap a bit, or if Dao makes a mistake and gives Matt an opening, he can catch up that way.
Yeah, for sure. They're definitely still close enough that, one substantial error could swing the race.
Now, Dao is not only just racing Matt in this race. If Matt were to beat him, which is certainly possible still, as we just kind of reviewed, it seems unlikely that Dao in that instance would have a fast enough time to win the group on tiebreaker. So we've got Foxlisk out there watching this race very intently. Dao is technically also racing against Fox, I guess, in this one, because he needs to get the win to secure first place in the group. Fox, the other member of Group D that currently has 2 wins, eagerly watching for the outcome of this one so that he knows where he stands. But I think almost no matter what, Fox has actually had a great showing in this group as well in his races. He's got a very good average time, and probably will have the lowest average time in his group, even if Dao ends up going 3-0 and winning. But of course, 3-0 is going to be the key number here if Dao can secure this win and sweep through Group D. Oh, bailing on Fence Dash there. Knew he wasn't going to get it. You hate to see it, but I guess it's better than most people for a bonk. You want to bail if you don't. I can never tell. Sometimes it feels like it didn't go well, and I don't think it's going to work, but I always let it go just in case. Other players know, they have a visual, oh, okay, that's not going to work. I better bail and not bonk. But we make a big deal out of Fence Dash because it is the most important trick in the run, so we're justified.
Now entering the mummy room now. Hopefully he doesn't get too bothered and gets an arrow drop.
God, is he all the way back around to the arrows already? Or did he just not get them the first time? I guess he just didn't get them the first time. Very nicely done there in the mummies and in the big key room as well. Tricky rooms to get optimal, but that was pretty close. Now his bomb jump. He's going to do the same spin setup as he did in Hera. No problem. Pretty friendly mini Moldorms as long as one of them doesn't run over here and give him a kiss. Nope, he's good. Matt's got the stuck mummy on the left side, which is pretty good, although usually the guy that gives most players trouble in this room is the right side mummy, who never gets stuck and is always running around free. But he doesn't have any issues. Gets through, gets the big key very nicely. Dao on his way to the back. Very nice so far. So a couple of really tough rooms in the back here. Dao is through one of them. He's going to get the mummy key here. Using the menu buffer to mirror there to make sure he's aligned to not mess that up. Very nice. Some players use it in the moth fight itself. He uses it there to make sure no disasters in the mummy room. And now Mothula. A little bit of bad luck there on that. He was going for a poke dash in the top right, and Moth kind of pushed himself off the spikes a little bit and got in the way. But pretty good patterns for Moth after that. Let's Dao clean it up with minimal time loss. If you do this fight really fast and get a cooperative Mothula, you can finish it when there are no spikes missing from the wall. I think it's something like maybe close to 1.5 seconds for every spike that is moved-ish. So it's also a very easy fight to lose 4 or 5 seconds in and have it not even go that badly.
Yeah,
Matt
for sure.
is making his way through, and we'll see what kind of outcome he gets, as he's done very nicely in these back rooms too.
And there it is. As you were saying, no spikes moved.
Very nice, yes. Boy, I'd like to see him stand a little higher to catch that heart sooner, but I guess that's fine. He went with the bonk strat. I don't know if he normally bonks on the rock at the top there after doing the double hit on Moth. Some players will bail out of the dash. Some players will just let the dash go and bonk. The bonk is fine if Moth does what he did in this instance, which is kind of follow him to the middle of the room, because then you can just turn around and slash him immediately. So very cooperative and very nicely executed. The key to that fight is always getting the double hit on the dash before he starts to move. That just makes everything so much easier. It allows you to kill him before the spikes start moving, even if you don't get him before any spikes move. The fight becomes very hard once there's 6 spikes moving around Moth at all times. So very nicely done for both players. Dao going with a safe dash there to not get lotteried on this overworld. Very annoying Popo that can just hit you and take 2 hearts. And while that happened to him on the Thieves overworld, it's much worse when it happens on the Ice Palace overworld.
Yeah, you definitely want beams for a few rooms in Ice Palace.
Yeah, beams and also just enough health to not die to Cold Stare. 2
Yeah,
very
true.
good things in my book. But yes, beams are going to speed up. Like just losing beams and not having beams for the front, and then maybe unsuccessfully farming for a couple hearts here on the overworld. Like you can just lose 6 seconds just to getting hit by 1 Popo when it wasn't even your fault. So he did a little bit of a safer dash. We'll see if Matt does the same dash here coming up on this next screen. Yeah, he's going to do the safer dash as well. Probably a really good idea in a tournament setting. It's not going to lose you that much time, and it's really, really bad when it happens. So why not do everything you can to avoid it? I think Dao jumped in the water once in Zora's domain on his way to talk to Zora. Very annoying part of the overworld. Very, very difficult to do optimally, and surprisingly hard to not just mess up and jump in the water like multiple times. It's very, very easy to have that happen. So always annoying when it does, but understandable as well.
Yeah, sometimes where you are and aren't allowed to stand in Zora's domain is not obvious. There are some bits of the blue water you can almost dash completely over, whereas some you think you're fine, you'll fall right in.
Yeah, Dao getting a little unlucky there from that Zora spawn. Had to wait it out, kill the Zora, then swim through. Didn't need the extra bomb. I mean, he could have waited for the extra bomb if he really wanted to. Doesn't seem like he cares about the extra bomb. He's in Ice Palace, he has beams, all is well. A very cool little stretch of rooms coming up here for Dao. He's got the bombable floor, and then the double kill on the Stalfos Knights, the conveyor room, and then the Ice Palace bomb jump. Really like mini gauntlet here in Ice Palace, where feels great to nail it all, and the time loss potential is also infinite if you keep messing it up. So hardest part of Ice Palace, and then you got to close it out with a Cold Stare fight. We'll see. He's halfway through it, looking pretty good. Conveyors. It's pretty good RNG. Nails it. Now on the bomb jump. Looking fantastic. Really nicely done for Dao. Very tough rooms to get looking that good. A lot of practice goes into those rooms for almost every player of every skill level.
Yeah, meanwhile Matt is now in Ice Palace as well. We'll be coming up to those same challenging rooms in just a moment.
Dow, I purposely left Pengator lineup off the list because I didn't want to jinx you, but Pengator lineup goes a little south as one of the Pengators avoids the spin. Dow launches himself off that thing. That was incredible. Wow. Link just flew off of that staircase. That was really cool. Dow's not happy, but
Yeah,
I thought it was really cool.
I've not seen that lonely fire by a strat before.
Link on ice and interacting with corners of stuff, you know, has those results sometimes, I guess.
Yeah, I just learned stair clip because I suck so much at the real strat for that room.
That's most people. That's I think they're thinking why they either learned it or go with stair clip because if you don't know the other strat for the room, it's just like, oh, there's a really good setup for the stair clip now too. So Dow into cold stair, another place where things can just go south in an instant. Double poke setup, very nicely done. Ice Palace is just one of those, like, if you haven't practiced Ice Palace, it's very scary. So most players practice a lot of the stuff in Ice Palace a lot of the time. Down making most of this dungeon look very easy, and it is anything but. Matt is coming up on Cold Stair himself. We'll see what kind of fight he will go with. Most players, I would say, are not the double poke dash strat. I don't know offhand what Matt uses. The double poke dash we saw from Dow, technically, I think technically the fastest strat, but also maybe one of the hardest. I have a lot of trouble with the double poke, so I'm a single poke player myself. We'll see what Matt does. Matt's going to be the single poke, and yeah, sometimes single poke you get hit by the icicle, but it's usually not an issue if you have angled Cold Stair correctly. No issues, going to get out of there. Doesn't matter taking the damage, except for maybe a handful of frames. But when Cold Stair is dead, nobody will complain.
Looks like Dow is going straight to swamp. No chores in the meantime.
Yeah, that's another thing I don't... Well, I could probably figure out if I looked at his splits. It looks like Matt will not be doing any shopping here either. Unless my math is completely failing me. Maybe he will be doing some shopping. Dow's not doing any, though. That's the important part. Dow's just going to mirror here in this door, actually. He doesn't go for this first quick warp. He just says, put my mirror portal in the door. I'm not going to get the first quick warp enough for it to make a difference. And it's not a big time loss because you don't have to leave the doorway completely to get back in the dark world. So sacrifices about a second of quick warps in exchange for not having to walk a couple tiles and some more consistency. Nothing wrong with that. And thankfully my math was correct. Matt is not doing any shopping here either, both just going straight to Swamp Palace. Almost getting bombered there by that worst bomber screen ever. Matt does go for the quick warp. I think he was too far right, though. Yeah, it was too far right. No quick warp for Matt, so there's the difference between what he and Dow did on the entranceway. Matt missing that quick warp. Now you'll see how far he has to walk down to get back in that portal, and if he misses the quick warp there again, then it's clearly inferior to what Dow was doing with the just easy doorway mirror. Let's see, no quick warps for Matt. So tiny bit of time loss there, not getting any quick warps and having the low portal. Not a big difference, but you know, those little differences in a speedrun, they all add up pretty quickly.
Yeah, and Swamp Palace is definitely a split of little differences adding up. Nothing very often goes too seriously wrong, but it's easy to, you know, get nickel and diamond by the enemies.
It's probably the split with the fewest deaths, and yet, bizarrely, the most instances of time loss. Like, you very rarely are dying in here, but you're almost always losing time, so... It is a very annoying split full of little tiny things that are either RNG based or very difficult to optimize, or both. And some RNG right there, eating that blue jelly just because he didn't feel like moving out of your way. Feels great. I got stuck on that block a little bit before he pushed, which meant he wasn't fast enough to avoid the water bubble. I don't even know what those things are. Takes a little bit more damage, and a great example of what you were saying. This is Swamp Palace in a nutshell. Little tiny things start to go wrong and add up to significant time losses over the long haul when they keep happening. Very cool room here with some precise movement to allow you to hook to this pot on the right side that Dao does. Correctly reads that he needs to slash before dashing out for that water bug. A little bit of RNG reading too. Very nice. So one of my favorite rooms in the game to do. Feels like it's just very tight and there's a lot to do in there. Very fun. Get some bad RNG there. Didn't want to dash through that jelly and risk the shock. We've all been there. Matt is actually taking he takes another hit there. He's actually getting into the area where you do start to be concerned for your heart total. I did say it's a place that you rarely die, but if enough little things go wrong and you lose enough hearts, you can go into the boss in basically one-hit KO, which then is certainly going to be something that's on your mind as you do the fight.
Yeah, for sure. If Argus sits on you, it's pretty painful.
We'll see what Matt chooses to do. There are a couple very easy hearts to pick up towards the end. Well, can't get this hammer dash. I'm a huge proponent of no hammer dashes in Swamp, but they are fun to do, so you can see why people go for them.
And he did get to swag kill that Stalfos at the end of that dash too.
Yes. Always feels good, you know, when you can get some revenge on those guys. Dow into his Argus fight. We'll see if he can get the zero cycle. He's going to go for it. Gets a little close. Might have time to clean it up depending on this last movement, and does. Very nice.
Ooh, Matt being very bothered by that jellyfish.
That jelly is like the worst. When he wants to be, he is just a pain. He's almost always electrocuting at a bad time. Sometimes you can throw the pot into him, and because you've got the glitch state from your hook dash, it'll actually shock you despite you throwing the pot into him. The game thinks that you slashed him for some reason, and losing 3 hearts is extreme, but I think it happens to everybody sometimes. It just, of course, has to happen to Matt when he already was pretty low on hearts. I would be shocked if he doesn't pick up the hearts in this room here. Yeah, he's going to pick up the 2 hearts. He's almost certainly going to take a hit in the Phelps way coming up, swimming to Argus. Almost everybody does just because of the RNG there. And then he'll have 4 hearts for the Argus fight, and we will cross our fingers that nothing terrible goes wrong. He goes out of his way to save a heart. Actually, very smart there to go in with 5 hearts. It's a little more comfortable. Great fight from Matt. That was really well done.
And the 5-rod quick hill too.
Now we're going to get some shopping from Dow, from both players probably. Dow's going to head up. Well, Matt's going to have to pick up something, I guess. I don't think either runner will pick up Ice Rod until T-Rock. Or no, Dow actually... Once again, I'm not going to try and do math. I don't think either runner will pick up Ice Rod until T-Rock. We're going to both get Ether here, though. Missing a couple quick warps here for Dow. No big deal. Death Mountain has not been very kind to Dow today. He'll only have to come up here one more time, though, so at least he's got that going for him. extra menu, just adding insult to injury. Get me off of Death Mountain.
Looks like he is going for Ice Rod here.
He is going for Ice Rod. See, this is why I don't try to do math live in front of an audience, because it's embarrassing. Played it safe there with the crabs. He did have an extra bomb. If he did waste a bomb there, it wouldn't have been the end of the world. Although, like we said before, you do want to have that extra bomb in Mire during a tournament run. So smart to just kind of play it safe, not get hit or waste that bomb, which can happen surprisingly often on that screen when you're trying to go fast. And now he will be on his way to Mire. You're not going to have sword beams for the second room in Mire, which is a room you like to have sword beams in. We'll see what he chooses to do in that room. He might try a kind of a cool strat that was put into a lot of runners' repertoires during the All Dungeons tournament last year, where you can fire rod the first Wizrobe and hope for a heart drop so that you can do the rest of the room with beams, or he might just do the rest of the room completely normally. Yeah, he's just going to dash through everything. Did miss the slash on the Wizrobe, so he's going to have to wait a little extra time. Oh, missed the slash and the fire rod. Oof, he's got two Wizrobes there.
Gets it on the third cycle.
Very awkward for a lot of runners going in there without beams because it's just so against their muscle memory. It's also the reason that some runners choose not to get Ether in the Mire split, because taking that heart of damage if you're picking up Ether during Swamp is less of a big deal than taking that heart of damage in Mire, as we see. Just want to point out how wrong I was. Matt also picked up Ice Rod during that shopping trip, so never again, Math, never again.
Now got the 4-bomb drop from the slug there and now has lots of spares.
Loaded. He can miss Spooky a bunch. This is great. Honestly, it's sometimes annoying. You got to get rid of those bombs in GT usually, but I think you would take it in a tourney run for exactly that reason. If you do miss Spooky, I mean, he already had the 1, so it wouldn't have been that big of a deal. But
yeah, it still sucks to get the 8 drop from the Pokies in Turtle Rock though.
Yeah, you have a lot harder time getting rid of your bombs then if you're full of bombs. But 5 won't be a problem. Dow can get rid of those. Most players like to have 0 in the Ganon fight so that their muscle memory on the menu to Fire Rod or to Lamp, if that's your flavor. But we're talking, at the end of the day, a difference of 1 second. If you do an extra menu, no big deal. Pretty clean Mire dungeons for both of them so far. Now getting a pretty nice Spark Gamble there. Kind of a neutral damage boost is not the worst outcome. Both players have a very nice Dark World so far, to be honest. After Pod, I mean, I think both players lost a little bit of time. Matt had a harrowing experience on Helmasaur, and Dow had a couple issues as well. But since Pod, very steady, except for Pengator Room in Ice Palace for Dow. He's pretty much even with his PB, and Matt's actually saved quite a bit of time versus his PB since Pod. So very nice Dark Worlds from both these players so far. It's not over yet. The hard part of the run is still to come.
Yeah, but they are proving once again that Light World does not matter.
It doesn't matter until it does. Good Spooky 1 there for Dow. He's going to do the walk strat for Spooky 2. I do think you can get a bad frame rule when you do the walk strat, and your Fire Rod just doesn't hit that anti-fairy in the right spot. It's pretty rare. Doesn't happen to Dow here. He's through all of his Spookies, no problem. Now going to Vidi. This is a place where disasters happen, so you got to be on your game going into Vidi. See how Dao does. Very smooth. Shoots his arrows. He's through. No problem. Finishes that fight with 17 arrows. So we probably won't get to save any time with arrows. I mean, we won't have to pick up the T-Rock arrows, but there's no, probably no skipping the GT arrows for Dao. So we'll save a little bit of time in T-Rock with this arrow count. It's not the end of the world. Matt's going to go into the fight with 27, so he'll probably exit on a similar arrow count as Dao. Matt doing a slash and dash strat there in Spooky 2. A little bit slower, but I don't think you can get frame ruled with that strat, so maybe overall safer. Who knows?
Yeah, Matt also has plenty of health coming into Vitreous here, so hopefully nothing goes too badly wrong.
Just got back in the goo and actually didn't get the spin off there. Yeah, that was very weird. I don't blame Matt for thinking that spin was going to hit. The eyeball, I think, just moves. I don't know if they do it all the time, but sometimes when they move, just as they start, they actually like jump backwards and they can dodge your spins that way. And it's a lot of times hard to notice that they've done it. So Matt shot one arrow into it, thinking that it was going to kill him. He actually almost just very narrowly avoided disaster. Got back into the goo to take the damage boost just before taking a hit from the eye on the right side. So it was kind of close, just one of those real close timing things. But through the fight, no disasters. They both have 17 arrows now. Matt shooting a couple extras at that one eye. And we're going to get some T-Rock action. Not a terrible overworld there for Dao. He's going to have a 117 Quake, which is fine. There can very easy to just lose 10 seconds on this T-Rock overworld. Not fun. Not a fun portion of the game. Not fun when you're on PB pace. Maybe one of the worst portions of the game when you're on PB pace, getting into T-Rock. But Dao's got a 134 entry. That's fine. Some bad dead rocks. You're seeing some of the dead rocks here on Matt's side. Just somehow didn't even get beamed there. He shot the beams at him and they missed the dead rocks. Okay game.
And the duration of the Turtle Rock overworld segment here is basically Dao's lead right now.
Yeah, and this is it's sort of been hovering around this time for a while too. Matt has done very well keeping pace with Dao, who is having a pretty solid Dark World, and you know this has been good to see both players. You know, nobody making any giant mistakes. You don't really want to see a run come down to mistakes. You'd rather it just be, you know, two players enter and one plays slightly better than the other. So that's so far what we've gotten. And still a lot of game left, though. We'll see. Anything can happen. Speaking of anything can happen, we're going to the Chomps room here for Dao. Let's see if he gets his fairy drop pre-Chomps. That's always nice. No. That's okay. He's got enough health. Terrible Chomps RNG. He's just going to play it safe, go to the top, and do the double hit.
Yeah, good cleanup in the end. That right-hand Chomp was hanging around near the chest and luckily didn't get in his way.
Good recognition from Dao, too, just saying, okay, they're not giving me anything. I'm not going to force anything. I'm just going to walk to the top of the room and take a little bit of time loss, not get hit. It's a surprisingly difficult to force yourself to do that sometimes. Pokey's one for Dao. He's going to get bottom right. That's nice and easy, and he should get a fairy drop here. Easy to pick up. Both drops, in fact. Very nice. No A-tap. A late A-tap from Dao, so he spends a little bit of extra time as a bunny. No big deal. We're going to have Matt going into Chomps in a minute. He is still due his fairy as well. He did not get the fairy in pods, so We'll see if he can get the refill before Chomps. Getting the refill before Chomps is nice. First off, it lets you take more hits, and if you have beams, you can do the fast strat. So that's why we all like it. He does get it. Now getting pretty bad pokies. 2 RNG meanwhile. Cleans it up. Matt's gonna take a hit, not a big deal. Got kind of a lazy Chomp. The Chomp wasn't necessarily in his way, but it was blocking the switch. And sometimes that's worse because it just throws off the rest of your timing. But coming out of there with just 1 hit, he won't have beams for the rest of the dungeon, but it's not the end of the world. Dao having a little bit of issues getting around the roller here. He's still got full health. He's fine. He's going to be going the laser skip in a minute. Matt on his way to Pokies 1. See what pattern he gets. He also gets down right. No magic drop for Matt, but he did not use any extra magic, so he should still be fine.
Yeah, and you know, he might be able to pick it up in Pokies 2 anyway, depending on where it drops.
Nice laser skip for Dao. Dao going up to 6 bombs with that bomb pickup there. Matt does get the magic drop, decides he doesn't need it. He shouldn't need it unless something really goes wrong here in Crystal Roller room. And Dao into Trinex, going for some backdoor strats. Any poke dashes from Dao today? Nope, no poke dashes on that head. Plain vanilla Trinex, that's okay.
Yeah, Matt didn't have any issues in Crystal Roller, so has the magic required.
Surprisingly easy to not realize you're going to run out of magic before getting to this room, and that is a big feels bad when it does happen. So I think everybody has it happen once to them, and then they really, really pay attention to their magic usage in the dungeon. Chomps is usually the biggest offender. Like, if Chomps goes bad, you can end up using multiple Samaria blocks, and not realizing you will need to get some magic before getting to the switch maze. Matt has played this game enough to know that he was fine. A little bonk there on Laser Bridge, but he's also through that.
Yep, without getting shot as well, so has plenty of spare health to go into Trinex with.
No magic here means he does need to pick up both pots and throw them at the switches. A little bit slower than whatever he normally does, but ultimately not a big deal. Oh, Dao. Look away from the screen, everybody.
Dash cancels are hard.
Dozens and dozens of extra lag frames. Matt is inside Trinex, but like you said, he has enough health that it doesn't matter. He's through. Dao's going to be entering as Matt picks up his crystal. So sizable lead for Dao. This is really, it's been for probably a couple splits his race to lose. But certainly still within the possibility of a disaster making up this time. We don't want to see that, but it's within Dao's grasp, going 3-0 in this pretty difficult group, so a very nice showing from him in this run and in this tournament so far.
Yeah, for sure, some impressive runs so far. Definitely a contender.
A lot of high execution rooms here in GT. The difference between a solid Ganon's Tower and an optimal Ganon's Tower is ridiculous. It's a very fun, very fitting way to end the speedrun, and sometimes a very frustrating way to end the speedrun. Dao's already taken a hit. He had issues with that Stalfos. He's going to start dropping his bombs here. Very smart. Get back to a comfortable inventory for Ganon's Tower.
Yep, there go all the spare bombs.
Oh, he missed pumped there. He's gonna, this
Yeah.
is gonna right in the face. He wasn't sure where the anti-fairy was gonna stop,
Yeah,
so he just stood there, which it's understandable. Sometimes you get off your rhythm and you don't know what's going to happen in the room. So
Yeah, if you're not really clean with your movement there, the anti-fairy can go all sorts of places.
that's a good point, though. He did not get the infinite magic drain. If the anti-fairy had stopped there at like the edge of the pit and Dao had to drop down, he would have ended up taking like 3 or 4 hits of magic loss from him on the way down, and that is worse than just 1 hit. He'll top off his magic there just to make sure he's at a comfortable amount of magic. Mimics here. Dao was practicing mimics before the race, and this is how it was going, so I'm sure that was in his head as he went into the room here. Very, very difficult room sometimes, and it just, it leaves your brain sometimes. The way to do these rooms correctly just exits your brain for weeks at a time, occasionally. And it's not fun when that happens, but Dao is through. It's the important part. He's going to be heading into the gauntlet in a few. On Matt's side, that's what the bombable floor is supposed to look like. You trap the anti-fairy there in the corner so he doesn't bother you.
Yeah, no attempts to dash through Ganon Ball Z from Daotum.
Yeah, I can't do it either, so I don't blame Dao. Good little recovery there from Dao. Missed the slash, but didn't take a hit or have a disaster happen. A lot of these gauntlet rooms are, you're just trying to avoid disasters. Read and react to the RNG, just like the rest of the game.
Yep, pretty solid gauntlet there.
Heading to Lamo 2, we'll see what kind of pattern he gets from the first one. Looking pretty good. Easy. Matt, also little issues in mimics. Mimics being bullies today. No issues here in torches for Dao. Matt is into the gauntlet. Oh, really nice G2 RNG from Matt. You'll love to see it.
Yeah, you get the dash double kill there so rarely, but it looks great when it works.
Except for G1, which was a little slow. That was a great gauntlet from Matt. And if the enemies in G1 hadn't run away and hid from him, it would have been really, really good. Unfortunate jumps from these landmos. He's going to have to clean it up with the sword. Dao heading into Moldorm 2. Nothing ever goes wrong on Moldorm 2. Very nice. Got the full circle there from Moldorm. Turns right away from him. Very clean. Didn't quite clear the block there. Can't dash through the door. It's okay.
Yeah, and he recognized it and cancelled the dash as well, rather than bonking.
Agatu, probably the worst boss in the entire game from a going fast perspective. Starting off with a double, that's okay. This is maybe a manageable pattern here. Never mind, he blue balled him. He's got 3 hits. I have another blue ball. Oh, he got the hit. That was nice.
That was interesting, yeah.
I'm not sure if he was trying to get iframes before the first energy ball, or if that was part of the plan. I was just gonna slash and be really close, but that worked. If he meant to do it, then great. Good Moldorm there for Matt. He's going to be headed up to Agatu as Dow drops into Ganon.
Yeah, nice use of the hook shot there to set up the spin attack to finish off Moldorm.
Yeah, very tricky for that to actually go right sometimes. You can get a little happy, a little trigger happy on the hook shot and hook when you don't want to hook, and then Moldorm runs away from you and you have to chase him down again. So it actually takes a little bit of practice getting good at that hook dodge. Ooh, Dow almost just walking right into Ganon because he hooked in the wrong direction, but he's fine. Matt having a similar Agaluk, although he's not getting the blue balls that Dow was. Just not getting the angles to cooperate, which I think we can all identify with.
And there goes Agatu.
Warps are done for Dow. He's into phase 4, starting with a hit. Ganon goes top right. Can't do anything about that. He's going to switch to Lamp here just to make sure. Makes a lot of sense. Missing Torch Glitch does not lose that much time, but it is very easy for Missed Torch Glitch to turn into Panic Mode, and that can lose a lot of time. So in the end, these guys are going to be separated by really just a Ganon fight, and that's kind of where they've been most of the Dark World. They both played very nicely. You know, for a tournament race, I think they both probably would take these runs for the most part.
Yeah, for sure. And there we go. Ganon down.
Very nice. Get your GGs in for Dowie. It was a very, very solid run for most of it, and he put on a great show this whole tournament. And there it is, officially 125.57. Very solid from Dow. He's going to advance to the brackets as the 3-0 Group D winner, getting himself some hard-earned buys in the bracket round. Matt's going to finish off his again. He's really just a couple phases behind. He also opting for the torch, the lamp torch glitch, I should say. Oh, gets his input eaten there. I think he was going to try and go for the top right there, but sometimes you don't spin yourself in the right spot, and you aren't fire routing at the right time, and your input gets eaten by Ganon, and everybody has a bad time. Finishes off very nicely, though. GG's for Matt. Very nice run. He's really only just over a minute over his PB, and that's not too bad at all for any runner of any skill level in a tournament. To just be a minute off PB is very acceptable.
Yeah, you take those. All right, GG.
Yeah, officially 127.07 for Matt. Very, very good. Very, very nice Dark Worlds. I mean, we had some separation in the Light World, but Dark World was very steady for both players. And I think we are joined by Matt here. Matt, how are you doing? GG's?
I'm doing okay, thank you.
Not a terrible tournament run, you know, plus 108, I think, if I can read correctly.
Yeah, there was some good in this run. There was a lot of bad, but I guess you can't be too picky. I've been making a lot of kind of uncharacteristic mistakes in these tournament races, but I mean, just that kind of little bit of tournament pressure goes a long way in terms of kind of messing you up.
It's so hard. It's hard to play this game with anything like stakes on the line. Like I was talking about during escape. Like I put up the worst escapes in my tournament runs, and I guess it's nerves. I don't feel the nerves, but there's got to be something different about this game when you've got tournament pressure on
But the weird
line.
thing, like even for you as well, like we both have competed so much in rando, and I compete a ton in rando, and it doesn't
Yeah.
bother me at all. And like rando is a lot easier, mind you. But even like spoiler log, things like that. But when it comes to NMG, man, it's just so nerve wracking because one wrong move just ruins your run.
Yep, and it's something you've done like over and over and over again. I've done this 1,000 times, and I'm surely not going to mess up when there's something on the line, right? Well, we are joined by Dow, also the winner of the race. Dow, how are you doing?
Pretty good, but I got to complain because I've got a better average than Fox. I don't know what you were thinking when you said that.
Okay, so remember when I said, my math skills are not exactly up to par, and maybe it's just tournament math that I can't do well either. I tried to crunch the numbers before we started, and I probably just transposed something, so
Yeah, the numbers remain uncrunched.
it's not crunchy enough for me, I guess. Sorry to maybe I was just trying to pump up Fox, man. Jeez, give him a little bit of a shout out. He can't win, I guess. Fine, I could have led with that. Fox, you're out of luck. You couldn't win. Sorry. But GG's, Dow. It was a very nice race. A couple moderate-sized disasters, but a lot of very solid play as well. I don't think you can be too unhappy with your play.
I mean, anytime I get a gold, I'm happy, right?
Oh, that Aga Tower is super good. Yeah, really, really excellent Aga Tower.
It was only like quarter second, but still, it's just one of those splits. I feel like I can get a full second gold there probably still, but it just has to come together, right?
It's one of those splits too. You're not often close to your gold, so getting a gold there is very, it feels really good. There's a lot of variance in Aga Tower, and I don't think you had like a great overworld. It was just a really good tower itself, very, very clean.
Yeah, there's only like one strat I want to upgrade, and that's the red spears, using the shield to block the arrows, or using the shield to block the spears, because the way I do it was about 40 frames or something, but it's really easy, so.
But yeah, other than the gold, some adventures in pod, when are there not, and then a pen gator issue, and then of course mimics in GT, which you had like 20 attempts at pre-stream that I saw, and they all kind of went like that. So I don't know if that's just the room that you're working on recently, or if you changed your strat in there, but sometimes these things leave our heads for days at a time, right? And you can't get it right.
Yeah, it's just precise, and if I don't practice it very much, then you kind of lose the feel for it. So I haven't played too much of this. I don't think I've played any GT since my last race, which I guess was on Friday. But before that, I also don't think I played any GT for my race before that, which was last Sunday, I think. So yeah, just not enough mimics practice, basically.
It's hard to play this game without enough practice, and it's hard to have enough time to practice this game, right? But you're 3-0, wins against some very tough opponents in Group D. You're going to get a bunch of buys here into the bracket stage, which is nice, because you're playing another tournament for another video game right now, so the buys will come in handy for you.
Well, that one's going really slow, so I might play my next match before I play my next match in that one.
All right. So that we got something going for us. That sounds like a compliment to NMG 2021 if I ever heard one. We're going faster than that tournament. But yeah, 3-0, some good races, and it's tough. These top groups have a lot of really good players in it, and coming out 3-0 is no small achievement.
Yeah, pretty happy about it.
Matt on the other side, 1-2, but again, very tough opponents, and no shame in losing to people like Fox and Dow. But you're going to be 1-2. You'll get some buys in the brackets as well, but I hope both of you have had a pretty good group experience. You've put up some very nice race times, and I hope you're looking forward to brackets, both of you.
Yeah, it'll be good. I gotta start playing a little bit better, maybe some practice between now and brackets, but I think I'll try to make sure I'm ready when it really matters.
I did want to also point out, Matt, you got a 2-cycle Landmo, right? That was a 2-cycle in Desert?
Yeah.
Okay.
I also threw away the freest pod gold ever. I had a 347 statue with picking up the safety bomb and just dumpstered it at the end.
very good hammer yump, and then of course things. The basement of Pod is going to do what the basement of Pod does. You both had some turtle adventures. Dow was like walking the turtle across the room, trying to not take damage.
Yeah, that was pretty much it.
Yeah, it's like when you take the damage from the mimics, it's you go into shutdown mode. You're like, I cannot take any more damage before Helma. So, when you get the weird turtle walking down, you're like, I'm not quite sure what to do here. But yeah, then Helma happened for Matt, and Helma happens for everybody. So very understandable. This game's hard to play fast. It's hard to play in general. It's certainly hard to play fast. But there was a lot of good from both of you. This was not one of those races decided by like one big mistake or somebody just not having their A or their B game today. You both put up a pretty good show, and in the end. Your PBs are separated by a minute and a half, almost 2 minutes maybe, and the race was closer than that. So this was a good show for everybody, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. And I hope you're looking forward to now with real stakes. Now we're not just playing for buys. Now we're playing for our tournament lives into the brackets. So hope you got some more good games in store for the viewers, because this was a fun one.
I hope so.
Yeah, me too. Well, thanks for the commentary there, guys, in the restream, and shouts to Blaine for all the effort you're putting in to make this thing happen. It's a lot of fun.
Yep. I'm just gonna echo.
And also, GG Sal, by the way.
Yeah, GG Matt. It's a good race.
Gotta be honest, Sirius is doing most of the work at this point, so direct your thanks to him, and I'll just.
Although, Blaine, since you're the only person who understands the brackets, are we gonna have to explain them? They wanted us to explain them at the end of the last match that we showed, which is now going to be the 6 p.m. match.
Yes.
So if you want to hop on there and let us know.
Yeah, if I can, I will. So that's a good idea. But there's not too much to explain. Basically, there's the spreadsheet. Everybody should check out the spreadsheet that shows the group results and the brackets. And as we get some more group results today, there's a couple more matches on the schedule and some async races that should be finishing up today as well. We'll be able to finalize the group standings and input everybody's name into the brackets. And once the names are in there, I think everybody's going to understand completely what's going on. So there is a little bit of confusing labels, but look, we did the best with what we could. But yeah, it's going to be pretty clear. We've already started filling in some of the bracket names. Unfortunately, there's still, I think, 4 groups undecided, so a lot of the standings can't be finalized yet. But later tonight, if you guys want to check that out, and maybe even as early as the end of the match that is happening at 6 o'clock, we might have everything finalized at the end of that. So hopefully sometime tonight, we've got a finalized bracket, and everybody can start taking a look and getting hyped for our version of March Madness here. But yeah, anything else, Dow or Matt, you wanted to add, or any other questions, Rob? Anything you wanted to bring up from the run that we've forgotten?
I guess we haven't mentioned Hera yet. That was kind of an adventure for both of them.
Oh man, Death Mountain, Dow. How do you feel about Death Mountain?
That's just Death Mountain when the game decides, hey, today we're doing Death Mountain. So you get used to it.
With the 1.5 hearts, were you going to take the Death Warp if you were still on 1.5 in the basement?
No.
So it was that last hit that did it. Okay.
And I had no K hair until I was pixel too low on that bomb jump. I gotta go look at that. And then Moldorm decided to hibernate over there on the west side of the platform for like 20 seconds while he was going fast. So that was
there was a lot of tracking down while you were just dashing, and then Moldorm was like, I'm not getting in the way of that dash. I'm going up here. And then you dash again, and he's like, no, I'm going the other way, sucker. Yeah, that happens. Good job, though. A lot of times people won't realize that they're too low on that bomb jump or that something went weird, and they'll just kind of, and I'm guilty of this myself sometimes too. It's just like, maybe this is good, and you stand there and it's not good. So reading that you've done it badly and just bailing is hard to do. So that, even though you messed it up, it's a really good sign that you can see like, oh, I messed this up. I need to not
I played
get
it safe, right? If that was a PB attempt, I would have sword buffered myself right down the hole. So.
Well, we've also all been there too. So preaching to the choir. But yeah, you can't play this game perfectly. And so in these races, I think that's also why it's fun to like watch a lot of these races, because like that stuff's going to happen. And I think even when you're running and having these disasters happen, you're not in PB mode, so you're like, oh, okay, it's another day of Link to the Past. At least you're I think everybody's kind of good-natured about it. Like, I've seen some players in the tournament now not have great results, but everybody's so good-natured about it because they know this is just like a community event. It's about having fun, and you know, maybe along the way you can play a little bit of good Link to the Past, but you know, both those heroes kind of epitomize like you might just lose 30 seconds, and you know, it's still fine. The run is still fine. It's not going to PB, but you can have fun and put on a show, and you know, it's just a community thing. So. But yeah, any last thoughts from either of you?
No, I'm good.
Yeah, same.
All right, well, good luck to both of you in brackets. Thanks for the show. Rob, appreciate you hanging out with me here, and I'll kick it back to ZSR to take us home if nobody has anything else.
Okay, again, congratulations to Matt and daotmb for the race. Also, thank you Rob J. Beasley and Buane for commentary. Make sure to check the bracket schedule and our CSR schedule for more Zelda content. The next NMG matches, the next one is to start in about 20 minutes, but as far as I know it has no commentator, so it will not be restreamed. But the 6 PM EDT match, that is going to get a restream. And for the next week on CSR, we have not much yet on the schedule. On Tuesday, 9:30 AM, we have an Ocarina of Time tournament match of between Rio Kane and Riley. And on Friday at 3 PM EDT, another Ocarina of Time match. It's the winners' finals, Salty Sponge versus What the Hell Happened. And with that, I'm going to say thank you for watching and see you next time on CSR.